G'day everybody, my name's Matt, I run Frontman Guitars and I want to do a few reviews. I want to try to do a few reviews I should say. So I recently got a bunch of Epiphones in, this being the Star Attraction. This is the Modern. So this has got weight relief, it's got beautiful cutaways, it's got lock-in tuners, same nut that the Gibsons use, same pickups, push pulls for all the fun stuff, and an ebony fingerboard. The frets are also on the medium side. So not jumbos, not medium jumbos, just mediums. Neck profile is quite nice too. It's sort of like a U shape. So we're just going to run through some cleans and some dirties before I work on it. Current action, if you just bear with me, measured at the 17th fret is just on 0.25 of a millimeter, which is stupidly low. And we have just on one on the low D string, because this is getting set up in D standard and it will get 11 to 52. Currently it's got 10 to 46, which are still the stock strings that came on it. And so here's our clean sounds. Put the push pull up. You can hear all that buzz. The action is way too low for what it needs to be. There is such thing as too low in action. This action is perfectly fine if you are a distortion head, fuzz head, whatever. You can get away with it, but for a clean player, not so much. Anyway, we'll go middle. Please note, I haven't adjusted anything at all. So it's exactly as it came to me and exactly as it came to the customer. Finally, we got the neck, this full neck. Beautiful. Finally, we can activate the push-pull. They are a bit stiff, which is, I prefer them to be a push-push, you better. I don't think that sound will ever be used. So, yeah, off the bat, it's a very playable guitar. Action is, again, stupidly low. Truss rod needs adjustment. Nut height is actually really good. This has been really well done. I don't think I have to tinker with the nut at all, except for the new gauges. And yeah, so I will go over it. Go over the frets just to make sure that everything's level and good to go. But I'm pretty sure this thing can just get away with a setup. And yeah, so just balance the pickups, go over the frets. They do feel really smooth, which is quite nice. Little tiny bit of give, but I've seen worse. The only thing that was an issue was that two of these lock-in tuners weren't actually locked in, so these have actually been wrapped around normally. It's easy enough to rectify because we are putting new strings on it anyway. And just off the bat, basic setup and you're good to go. I'll do the work section, I'll speed it up, save you guys the hassle of watching me doing it. If there's anything of note, I will mention it. And when we come back, this will be set up with these beautiful new strings, higher action, and good to go. So cheers and thank you for watching. Alright, so we have the Epiphone on the bench now. One thing I've noticed, one thing to note, I should say, is the jack. I did adjust it slightly for the first section, but it's actually not as smooth as it should be. So, kind of hear that? I'm gonna click it in. I have already rotated it to make it fit better, but it's definitely worth taking a look at. But for now, we'll worry about the rest. So, first things first is we've got to de-string it pretty well. So now we're going to assess the fretboard. So we'll have a look at the fretboard, see what's going on. Again, I'm sort of happy with how it is. Ebony looks nice, nice and smooth. Little bump there. Just removing our fingernails. Yep. So I can feel a little tiny bit there. Just grab some tape. Let's protect the finish. Just feel along. Little bit there. So we'll grab our thread end file, just like so. And what we're actually feeling is just when they've went for it, a little tiny bit of burr left, so we just go over it just very so slightly like this. Just remove that little burr. It's better. Just go up and down and feel. The way we feel is we're actually feeling towards like that, as well as the side. So there was a little area here. So just grab your file like that and just slightly go down, and we're just getting rid of those burrs. Like so, and that's all she needed really. Just a little tiny bit. Alright. Check the straightness of the neck. Now the string tension is off. I can't really see the bow in the middle. How are we looking? Actually, that's not bad at all. Helps to have a monitor behind you. Yeah, she's actually pretty straight. It's pretty good. A little bit there. Straightness is good. Okay. So I'm actually not too upset about these frets, to be honest. Oh. I think a light fret dress will do these wonders. So there are a few high spots. None of it is really down to reseating. I can tell everything's pretty much sat properly. This is the sort of the hard bit, so it's not really going to be an issue if I just do a setup. It will still work fine and there won't be any buzz out, but just to be safe, we might as well do it. And again, in terms of the polish, is pretty good. There's one fret here, or there's a couple of frets where it's not as polished, but it's here for a reason, so we shall do it. So I'm doing this sporadically. I'm not doing every single fret because I already know what's going to happen. The entire board's getting a level, so I'm going to mark every single fret, but I just want to do it a bit sporadically just to see. So what we do is we just mark all the tops of the frets. There is also a technique called reseating, which is where you hammer in high spots. That's a technique you can use if you do have some high areas, but I know that that's not the case with this, that this is just sort of get it done fast, out the door. The risk of reseating is you can actually knock up the fret, depending if it's glued in or not, which most likely it's not. And you can also deform the fret if you're using your brass side, because sometimes the material used isn't that hard. So I tend to avoid reseating unless I can actually visibly see that the fret is high. In this case, they're all seated extremely well. So we've marked off all our frets. I've got some black texture on me. No, I do not. All right, good. So we grab our diamond file and we grab our crowning majiggy-majig. Diamond file is good. Goes both ways and only takes off a small amount of material. Still got the nut on, so we have to be careful. So we're going to make a stop. What I mean by a stop is we're going to make a spot where it's raised over here. Just do that via tape, like so. 2 layers should be good. And now we just very gradually just go like that. Let the file do the work. Don't need to apply pressure. Just let the file do the work. Keep going until all of the marker is gone. Do a little bit more and we're done. Now my texture is gone, so we're just going to go over it again just to make sure. So we'll do some here. A little bit more high spots there. We need to do a little bit more. That's pretty good. Mostly on this side. And there was one major high fret here. It's been taken care of. Just a little bit more around here. Alright, that should do it. I'm going to grab one of these bad boys. Move this amp out the way. I'm not destroying everything like that. $600 grit, 400. Grab some 400 grit sandpaper. just go to the top 400 degrees. Alright, so now we're going to do the fret dress. Mark tops of our frets, black texture. Just like so. Grab our fret dress foil. A medium on this one. Alright, fret dress. So, medium file. Start straight. Round it in. Alright, so one of the questions I presume I'm going to get is, why am I fret dressing a brand new guitar? It's come to me for a reason. The owner trusts my judgment. Most guitars like this do need a fret dress, even your Gibsons and your Fenders. I've had to dress custom shops too, so don't think that just because you spend a lot of money your frets are perfect. So one, this is going to be the star attraction. It's going to be his number one, I can guarantee you, because it's black. It looks cool. Play great. Might as well just do it now instead of doing it later. What will happen if you don't do it now, the frets aren't silky smooth, is as he plays, he'll start doing more wear and tear and he'll get more divots than if this is all done now. So, yeah. Just gonna do it for him, get it over and done with. and you won't have to worry about it for a very long time. Especially with the heavy gauge strings and the slackened tuning, these frets are going to feel some massive wear. I'll tell you right now, the material's quite good. It's nice and hard. There is a bit of resistance to my file. But yeah, most likely your guitar needs a fret dress. Most guitars do. I've only ever met a handful of guitars that have come absolutely perfect from the shop. That's no one's fault. They're on a time limit. As I like to say, I'm the final part of the factory. So then I just use some so we've gone over it with the file, diamond file, which is pretty good. We've also gone over it with 400 grit sandpaper and 600 grit. Now I'm just using some more 600 grit over the frets after I've crowned them. That's just to knock off any of the marks. I'm making sure I get every single little nook and cranny. Oh wait, I forgot to do this bit. This is the round over process. This makes the frets feel amazing. So all we're doing is creating a little bevel around the fret. So when you do roll your fingers up and down it, nothing catches. Just like so. It doesn't need much, just enough. Again, they were pretty good to begin with. This is just making them better. If you ever had your frets dressed professionally, you know the feeling. Just like so. So grab our 600 grit. Just sand like crazy. 600 grit is good enough. It doesn't take off much, gets rid of scratches. Anything less and we're starting to take off material. This is just sort of like a polishing but with a bit more of an abrasiveness to it. Just like so. Getting all the nooks and crannies. Good enough, then we switch over to 1200. Actually cut that smaller, we don't need it that big. You really get in there. You just look for any marks. And you just sand it in. This stuff stinks. You'll find that metal stinks, so you have to wash your hands afterwards, or else you won't be very pleasant to be around. Do the test. Feels good. That feels good. I'll just get all it up in there, polish it. Then after I do all these, I will go on to the next polishing process, which is 2000 grit sandpaper, thread erasers, and some micro mesh, and then a buff on the wheel. So I'll carry on. I'll do one more on camera, then I'll turn it off and come back when it's time to polish them. Alright, so now another important part of being a guitar tech is music and podcasts. Doing this job in silence sucks ass. So I'll return when all the other frets have been crowned and polished to 1200, and then we'll have a look at how to make them super shiny and feel like an elastic band, as in when you bend. So yeah, I will be back. But I'll just show you what I've done for now. If I grab this, see the first 4 frets. They're not too shiny just yet, but they'll be super shiny soon, as opposed to the rest. It gets a bit more interesting as we go up the neck, so I might come back and show you how I do these ones. Cheers. Alright, I got someone come and pick up the guitar. Well, basically, finally. So I've done the level and crown and all that fun stuff. So now it's all been taken up to 1,200 grit. We move on to our fret erasers, starting at 2,000 grit, which is the green one if you got Stumax. You just go nuts with it. Don't need much. Just go over the tops, polish it up. Your hand should look like that, if you can see. They should stink like metal. It's a sign of a good fret job right there. Stinkier the hands, the better the job. And yeah, we just go over the tops. Alright, now we move up to 6,000. Grey. That little squiggly bit there. And we finally end up with 8,000, which is yellow. Alright, now we go on to micro mesh. Fantastic stuff. Highly recommend you buy some. You can either get it from a guitar place or just on eBay. I have a certain order. I don't use it all. As with most things, you learn to use what you need. You want that, purple, blue, and pink. So our most aggressive one is probably about 4,000 grit. No, sorry, 6,000 grit micro mesh. This is where the shine really comes out. Go over the tops first. She's sweet. Then we'll go up to this one. It's probably 9,000 grit. So as you can see, we're going up to different grades, but we're staying within the relative grits. Alright, now we use our purple, which is 10,000. And finally we finish with our beloved 12,000, which is pink. Alright. Grab our Dremel, buffing wheel, check out the messages, make sure. This is material already on it, so we just go for it. I'll soak in. So, all frets have been dressed. They are shinier than you could possibly imagine. They're going to feel like elastic to string on, and the fret ends feel absolutely fantastic. No bite whatsoever. So next on the agenda, so just run our file along here just to get rid of any little burrs that might have occurred during the process, and then we can begin the setup. But before we do that, we'll wipe it down and clean her up. So yeah, that's the job done on the Epiphone Modern. Alright, we're back. I'm a little bit sore, but that's okay. Just quickly before I do anything, I just want to even out some of these burrs that I've created. Just like so, just have a good feel. So next up, restring. Alright, now we'll tune her up and see what the neck does. Please forgive my lack of enthusiasm. I've just broken a couple of the ribs. I've got a rare medical condition, which makes my ribs extremely fragile. And unfortunately, my ribs suffered. That string is sitting higher than the rest. Here's something interesting for you all to gasp at. So this string is thicker than the actual slot, so it's not sitting flush. A little bit taller than the other one. So what we'll do is we'll grab the 17. What gauge is it? 18, yep. It's interesting, why aren't you sitting flush? Why do you suck so much? That's the question. Why are you sitting more proud than the rest? Not that bad. Let's just measure this before I file. It was still low there. Alright. So we'll undo this one. Don't try this at home unless you're a professional. Captured that on camera. So we're just smoothing off any little burrs that we could have created that might break a string. Let's get in there. It's 1,200 grit, doesn't do much. Just enough to get rid of any little tiny burrs. Down this end too, the G string needs a bit of work. It's just slightly too big for the hole. Alright, just running through valve amp in D standard. That's the bridge, man. Beautiful. short press hates me. Neck pickup. Of course, we also have push pull. But the push pull on the bridge is better than the push pull on the neck. Turn the tone down. My lead ability is lacking at the moment, because I've been doing more of honestly and truly, this will probably never be played in clean. The owner is a absolute gun at Metallica-esque music. So yeah. But the clean sound gives you a really good idea of how good the guitar actually sounds with these Gibson pickups. Very honest amp. This amp don't lie. So far, the gold top's been my favourite though. Fantastic. I love the locker tunes too. he does go clean, which would be. So yeah, pretty cool guitar. Sorry I can't show it off better. I gotta still clip the strings, but here she is. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Just wunderbar, wunderbar. And the back, look at that carve. Look how beautiful that carve is.